2024-26, President Sri Prashant Nandela Garu, Vice President Bipin Pendiala, General Secretary Ramakrishna Lingireddy, and Treasurer Isaac Rajkumar. All four of them are present, and they will be giving you further details. So this is a summit we've been doing for like 30 years, 33 years, like I said. This summit has a few sections which are the conference, which will consist of keynotes, panel discussions, and key people and dignitaries from the government as well as the global leaders who are going to be present at the summit. Speakers from across the world and especially the IT leaders from various large corporations in the GCC are present. They will be speaking on various topics related to technology, how AI is changing the world order, what's happening with talent, and many other topics. Around the summit, apart from the conference, we have a expo area where a lot of startups and mid-sized companies will showcase their AI solutions. Then we have 2 or 3 master classes, which are deep workshops, hands-on workshops for people in the technology. And we also have a few more attractions, which the group addressing you will be speaking about right now.
Thanks, Funny. Media colleagues from here, familiar faces. Thank you for being here. Unfortunately, we're doing it at a time where there's a global disruption and a bunch of people are firefighting various situations that are happening because of the situation in the Middle East now. Nevertheless, hopefully things settle in and we should go in as we planned for. Quickly, I think this year, we've been deliberating with this tectonic shift in how technology is being adopted today. And, new tech has now gone from experimentation to actual scale implementations. How should we shape, obviously there's a large term and we've always led ourselves as Telangana and Andhra as a state, how we can think differently and try to lead this wave. So the way we structured this year's session was about there is going to be hyper-intelligence everywhere. So hyper-intelligence is going to change the way we are going to drive our business models going forward, right? So, and that's become even more available with hyperscalers and technology, the infrastructure that's available today, which can process data and drive intelligence at a rapid pace. So the idea was the whole intelligence everywhere and leading the new era of technology is what we wanted to cover, right? As part of that, I think we've deliberated quite a bit in the management committees, had conversations with the government, spoke to multiple stakeholders, industry stalwarts, consulting companies. And our view was, I think, leave some messages and leave some insight on as much as we look outside in terms of what's going to change in future, how do we create some toolkits and tool frames where we can actually execute this change? That was more important, right? How do we sort of manage this change versus just be aware of the change as we move from experimentation to scalability life cycle. So the way we sort of structured the whole agenda is threefold, right? So with that in mind, one is have a lot of external views. So we're trying to bring in a lot of perspectives, both from consulting companies, right? We have Gartner, we have Avasant, Forrester, giving us a very different perspective on. They've been talking to a lot of people, industry leaders, CXOs, CTOs, CDOs, CEOs, on how they are trying to do some changes at their end, right? So give a little bit of flavor on how they are seeing the changes in various elements of technology and how people are moving from experimentation to scale, and how can some of these playbooks be industrialized for us to harness our might of technology power we have and that demographic divide that we bring to the table. That was one element, right? The second element is to sort of bring in a lot of industry experts, leading figures, give their perspective on what are they doing in their companies and how does that add up to the whole thing, right? Which is through curated fireside sessions to curated panel discussions and stuff. The third thing we felt is there are a lot of practitioners along with decision makers in the meeting. So how do we equip the practitioners into a sort of master classes that are being run by a variety of organizations who are doing their own bits of development, right? How can QA be 100% automated as an example, right? What are we doing? How is agentic and generative AI being adapted to make QA being more seamless, more effective, automated, and reduce the cycles of QA testing so they can release products faster to the market, right? Stuff like that are masterclasses that we are running so that people can experience how people are moving from experimentation to scalability and how we can take away some of these learnings to drive better business outcomes, right? So that's broadly what we wanted to cover as part of creating a thought process, equipping practitioners to navigate the new shift, and hear from people on both pros and cons, what are they looking at their dividend, and what do we need to do at a grassroots level, which is culture, people, tooling, technology, and business mindset on sales and execution to be able to drive that value. So that's broadly what we're going to cover on a day-long session. But what we've done slightly different is before the day-long event that we've scheduled in PACE, we're getting in about 40 thought leaders across academia, startup ecosystem, and industry to talk about how we need to do rapid research in partnership, because our economy is going to be more driven by deep tech and deep research, not necessarily service orientation going forward. How do we collaborate better to think about creating better insights, better research, better IP, to make ourselves a knowledge economy and not a services economy, right? And we lead by creating patents, thought leadership and stuff. So on the 4th, we are doing a 2.5-hour session, deliberating, debating a lot of the stuff to arrive at what we think we should partner together to make a meaningful impact, to drive this pivot as we navigate AI. How do we become a knowledge economy is what we try to think through, and how do we sort of lay the seeds of foundation now and work jointly as associations which will bridge the divide between corporate and academia to drive rapid research and prototyping. So that's broadly the construct that we have. The usual other things that we're doing is we do service awards, so we do product awards to the top 10 startup companies that have come into existence. We do a lifetime achievement award that is there. Those are awards that we'll do. On top of it, we're creating 3 knowledge assets. The asset number 1 is almost like an AI index for Telangana, right? How do we navigate the AI index? So we're working in collaboration with PricewaterhouseCoopers to build a report which talks about this, right? Which is one thing that we're going to release during the morning session. We have 2 more knowledge assets that we've created, which will be used widely by everybody. We're running a refresh on our Scale at Hyderabad report with adapted change. We used to do one every 3 to 5 years. With the change in technology and what's happening, we felt it's more important to do it every year, at least for the next few years. So thinking, we've done a research of that, and along with KPMG and Aon and CBRE, we're releasing the next version of the Scale at Hyderabad report during that day. I think as an IT industry, and you've seen the success that we've got through growth, which is more than our other states, right? From a growth percentage standpoint, if not absolute growth, both in GCCs and non-GCCs. I think a lot of it is because of the foundations that we've been laid for the last 3 years in the state, both at bureaucracy, at government, at industrialists, at ecosystem partners, and how we created and nurtured a safe place to live in, a vibrant ecosystem to live in, collaboration at scale. People are partnering together to create an impact. So you want to celebrate the success of the 33 years of the IT industry and how Telangana has been made what it is today. So in collaboration with Times, we're releasing a coffee table book which talks about this journey and the saga that we've all gone through. I think part of it is to also use that as a showcase for people to choose why Hyderabad, why Telangana compared to the rest of the world, right? And why are we positioned well to address that, right? So that's broadly the construct of what we're doing between the 4th and the 5th. We have prominent industry personalities participating in this event from various parts of the journey. Notably, I think we have B.R. Mohan Reddy Garu, Srini Raju Garu, who are our own stalwarts for the IT industry, who will be there on that day, along with people who have shaped and built other companies like Rajesh Varrier from Cognizant and a few others. Incidentally, we're very, very happy that Cognizant is partnering with us as the title sponsor for this session. along with a few other smaller companies who are actually shaping Telangana and Hyderabad into a very, very rapid digital engineering powerhouse, right? And they're going to be partners for us in the session. The details are in the press note that, Funny has put together for consumption. All in all, I think expecting a great event, and we're hoping, as you know, there's a lot of work that the government is going through. We're hoping Sridhar Babu Gaurav will be there. He's confirmed that he'll be attending the event. I just got off a meeting with Ajit Reddy Garu some time back, and to see if CM Garu can also join, and we like him to release the coffee table book from a business standpoint. So we are exploring whether he can join. Obviously, there's a bunch of meetings scheduled this week. It's not a great week, but it is what it is. We have to live with it and go with it and make it happen. So those are the government delegates that will be there. As you know, there's been a change in the bureaucracy on the IT segment. Sanjay Kumar Garu has moved on to a new role, and there is no chief secretary currently for IT, and I think most likely Bhavesh Mishra Garu should be there with us because he's been redesignated as a special secretary in the IT and EC department because we don't have a formal confirmation yet on who the new IT secretary is going to be. But I think, all in all, I think we expect that it's a great partnership along with the government and STPI. Kavita Garu could not come together because she had a meeting with S. Krishna from IT, and that is overrunning. Unfortunately, with all the action that is happening, all departments at both central and state level are working very, very vehemently to see how we shape the vision and how India can be a part of the AI revolution that's happening. So, there's a lot of work that's happening at the back end, and results will slowly start coming up, but everybody believes clearly that rapid execution is the key to, riding the new wave, and people are working really, really hard to come to that, and depends on how the situation spans out. Sanjeev Jain, who's the CEO for Wipro, he might join. We don't know the situation currently, but he's going to give a good spiel on, how this is. So hopefully he should be able to make it based on the Gulf situation. We'll know how that's going to shape up. Otherwise, we'll have somebody else who will join on his behalf to be part of that session. I think we also do a quick track as part of a summit on celebrating entrepreneurship. We've done different leaders in the past. We've done Ravenbox, we've done Skyroot, we've done Through Airspace, we did Nephroplus last year. This year, I think somebody who's just made us really, really proud is Krishna Garu. So he'll be there talking about his journey, about how he's actually researched, innovated, and created a vaccine for the world made in Hyderabad, and how it's sort of done wonders, helping a lot of lives across the globe. So he's going to talk about his journey in line of research-oriented and deep tech and knowledge-oriented economy, how we should look at innovation and creation of new services and products, and how technology played a role in how they sort of deliver the time to market of that vaccine. I think he's going to spend some time discussing some of those elements, but again, we're glad, that I think I covered all the details, but Bipin, Isaac, you guys are close to, both of them are the program chairs. I do all the good stuff, but all the hard work is being put by Bipin and Isaac. So, and Ramakrishna Garu is helping us coordinate a lot of stuff with government and stuff, but I'll hand over to Bipin to add anything that you might want to add.
Thanks, Prashant. Like Prashant said, we broadly covered the entire canvas in terms of the summit, in terms of the previous evening's research and academia and industry roundtable meeting, expo, a lot of that, right? So I'll spend a little bit of time in terms of giving you an exposure on the program, while the press note will cover all of that. But what we've done is that to curate a program with multiple sessions. One, we're talking about a session which is about what is deep tech in the current scenario, and how is it likely to impact the industry as we go forward. And we have some brilliant set of people coming into that. We have the head of IBM Research, who's also leading their quantum initiatives, coming in to join that, right? Just as example. But one on one hand, anxiety, other hand, probably some level of euphoria, but essentially a lot of ambiguity about what happens to the skills of today versus what are the required skills of tomorrow, and therefore. So therefore, their entire session, panel discussion with some brilliant leaders coming in to talk about what is the future-ready workforce. What is it? How does it look like? And how should the companies plan to do it? We have the CEO of Aeon, who's coming in as one of the speakers in that session. I'm not naming all the speakers, but just giving a flavor of the quality of speakers coming in. We also set up another session which is focused on cyber resilience, right? One of the things that people are getting very excited about Gen AI, everything else, that's true. But the reality is that this whole AI, Gen AI, edge computing is going to create a phenomenal requirement in the cybersecurity space. And that is going to be a major, it is already a need, and it's going to probably go a 10x or 100x need going forward. So there's an entire session which is curated based on cybersecurity itself. And we have some top leaders coming in to talk about it. The head of cybersecurity practice at Cognizant will be leading. Vikas Salve is joining us. And head of cybersecurity at AT&T and a lot of other leaders are coming in for that. Then we have set up one session which is going to talk about, not about the context alone, but the contextualization of how companies have already built and scaled AI. Right? So we have people from Optum, from Novartis, from Swiss Re coming in to talk about what is it that they have done within their company in terms of creating AI pilots and taking it forward. That's a session out there. And of course, finally, as all of you have seen over the last few weeks, there's this whole announcement from Anthropic and how the stock market is just beating everybody, all the SaaS players, then IBM and whole up. So we actually have one session of very senior leaders coming in to talk about is this whole concept of SaaS pilots, right? What does it mean where we are, right? So there's each panel, there's a lot of thought that went into curating the topic, it is current, and it's something which people want to learn and understand, as well as mapping it with the best of the class speakers that we can get in terms of their pedigree, in terms of their expertise and the value they can bring to the table. And like Prashant already spoke about, we have Dr. Shalagaru who's coming in talking about it. We also have the US Consul General who will be opening the session on the morning. Then we also have another very homegrown senior leader, Dr. Paulu Subbaravu, who set up Aram Technologies and very deeply into aerospace and defense sector as well. He'll be giving a power note talking about that paradigm of aerospace and IT overall. So that's the overall sort of program's efficacy and value. And we think each year our endeavor is to how can we make each year's summit incrementally better, more valuable for the IT industry colleagues. And I think this year again, all of us feel quite confident and comfortable that we're able to achieve that by making it a better than what it was last year. Thank you all.
So one thing I would encourage to add to it, very senior people, experts in the industry to come and be present during the event and really represent the industry. So please take a look at it. So at a step back, I would look at the whole event as we want to talk about the successes. I think throughout the event you will see what is being achieved, what are the successes. But not just being a success story alone, there are two other dimensions to it. One is how is it changing the lives and the employment and careers of people, right? There is an angle of people, and there is another angle of disruption, right? Which is all the thing about how is the SaaS industry, what are the changes that are happening, and so on. So we are not particularly only about all the successes, but we are really bringing a very balanced view in the event about all the angles to it. And I would again go back and say, please take a look at the agenda and the speakers and the panel, exceptional lineup. So I would really encourage, good amount of participation there.
What is going to be looked at national level or global level? Recognize the people who are bringing the innovation within the space. So it's a new category has been introduced, and we called for nominations from various industry companies, and we have shortlisted some of them, and those are also going to be awarded this year. And we always encourage the startup ecosystem in Hyderabad. So every year we call for these startup awards. We have a huge response from the startups from Hyderabad. And it took a lot of time in terms of shortlisting them. So the shortlisted about 40 companies are going to showcase their products in the expo. And during that process, the jury members will shortlist the top 10, and those 10 will be awarded in the evening.
We can often do the opening as somebody who's honorary there to help us and promote the ecosystem in Telangana and Hyderabad, but also speak about this topic and how relevant it is in today's time, right? And I think I should thank my colleagues from the past life, Shailaja and other teams of Cognizant, who's been a title sponsor for this event to help us make this a grand success. But she could not make it here today, but you'll see her more during that time. And she runs the GCC capability practice for Cognizant. Thank you.
Hyderabad IT industry in Hyderabad is preparing for such kind of change and internally.
So one of the couple of contextualization, Kurunad Garu. See, one is I'll just quote two reports, most recent. Right? One of the most recent reports I read was from a Deutsche Bank Research Institute. Right? So they asked their internal LLM called as DV Lumina. DV Lumina is their internal LLM. Said that what's going to happen to the job roles or skills as we see. And the response from DV Lumina was that 30% of the tasks that the US workforce does today will get eliminated by 2027. And 12 million people who are currently working in certain roles will be repurposed, will need to be repurposed. And by 2030, 92 million jobs that we know today will get eliminated. But the interesting part is that it says 170 million new jobs will be created by 2030, which means you're talking about almost about 78 net new jobs being created. Correct? But what those jobs are, none of us know, right? And a couple of examples, another one I was reading about the Morgan Stanley report, very recently published again, I think hardly 2 weeks back, along with Sydney, which is a think tank, right? Morgan Stanley report talks about, a data point is, today in the world, across the globe, we have 12,000 data centers. And the expectation is that there'll be at least another 3,000 data centers that will need to be built up in the near future. So look at the number of new jobs that will create, right? So therefore, there is one side, so the reality is that we all had to prepare for quote unquote what I would serve as to be ready to get evolved and learn on the fly. You can prepare when you know what the outcome is, right? Here we're talking about preparing for where we don't know what the new world is. So the idea is to prepare it and be ready for the change. There are a lot of new roles will emerge. A couple of new roles that there are people are talking about is, for example, there's something called as a agent orchestrator. That's supposed to be a new role where this is a person who will actually kind of look at a bunch of agents instead of people and figure out how to make those agents put into a framework and get the end results. There's something called a new role coming as AI coach, whose job will be to kind of encourage and understand how people should learn to work with agents as a team member. Right? So a lot of new roles will emerge. So truly speaking, we don't have a clarity what the roles are, but what as an industry we're doing is that, one, to enable all of our team members to learn about how do you coexist GenAI, how do you use GenAI tools, how do you use AI tools, what does it mean, what are the use cases where it makes sense, because technology for the sake of technology is only short term, it doesn't last. So we are encouraging within our companies to figure out what are the use cases, what is it that makes sense for us to use AI, which AI tool makes sense, how do we get the people to get trained on it, right? Because at the end of the day, the metrics for industry success are going to be the same irrespective of technology. Your bottom line, your top line, and your investor satisfaction, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, all will be the same. So therefore, a long answer to your question, we really don't know very clearly what the future holds. So the best we can do at this point of time is be prepared for ambiguity, for transformation, and get people to learn, adapt, and be ready for the change.
Regarding data center increase, no, but per se, data centers are not job creators. No?
They are, in a sense, maybe not from IT point of view. In fact, a very senior executive at Marsh actually made a comment saying that when I was young, I was a 4th generation plumber. This part of the Morgan Stanley report, by the way. So he was quoted. I was a 4th generation plumber, and I am looking forward to the new era where there'll be people working as plumbers and technicians, electricians who will be earning $250,000 to $300,000. In fact, Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO, just about last month in a press note said, days are not too far away when the actual skills like nursing, therapy, counselors, teachers, and plumbers, electricians, anything the skilled jobs would actually go through 6-figure and 7-figure kind of salaries. So yeah, within IT industry, will there be a lot of transformations? Yes, but a lot of new jobs will be created as well.
I know Bipin spoke a lot of good reports. I think fundamentally to use AI, you need to be a specialist in that area. If you don't know how to use that solution, it's not about technology specialism, it's about domain specialism. If you are an editor, if you know how to use AI to make a better editorial, it will help you in preparing that in a much faster, that much more better and impactful manner, right? And it can create a lot of noise, but you know how to filter the noise, train the algorithm to make a difference, right? So I think AI is almost like your buddy, and the people who know to use it will be the people who will be successful going forward, right? The first mindset we are changing is think about everything with technology first mindset whenever you're doing anything, whatever role you're playing. That's one element. The second element, I think, which is also extremely important is back from the concept of domain centricity. There's going to be large-scale AI deployment across multiple industries. So I think there is a need, especially in India, especially in Telangana, for people doing a core engineering discipline along with a technology discipline. Because the future is about blend. If you are a civil engineer, you know how to use AI to do better designs, how to use it to create better structures, how to create rapid deployment. That's a skill that will be sought after, right? So today, if you see a lot of places, the core engineering skills are not being pursued because of the craze about technology skill sets and job creation, easy money and access to various things, right? So I think we are recommending and we want to work very closely to see how we can bring this hybrid structure back in where people have to pursue a core engineering course along with the technology course so that the future is at least conserved. We'll come to what is the current, right? So that at least we're creating workforce talent which is ready for the future, right? The third piece, I think, is to appreciate all of this, the faculty in the colleges need to understand this. So we started off a project called Drona that all of us are aware. We want to amplify Drona to actually create faculty to understand this shift and how they can play a significant role of making or breaking this nation, this state. So they have to embrace this change to help students to embrace this change, along with the management of colleges, right? So that's going to be the focus, I think, that we are trying to work with on creating that foundational elements from a open your lens, think about this so that you can navigate that shift from a business standpoint. Last but not the least is, if you look at ERP packages, right? From the time that they were launched 35 years back to now, one product used to be launched every 10 years to 5 years to 3 years to 2 years to 1 year, whatever it is today, right? So I think there's a rapid change in even core platforms that are being created that can be used. So today is the world of rapid deployment and rapid understanding. So the mindset of everybody, including us, should be that I want to unlearn faster than I want to learn. So through this program, we want to give that one message to people that, you are a lifelong learner. It's not like you are reskilling or upskilling yourself. You're new skilling yourself every day. So when you have that mindset, I think there are enough jobs to be taken. A lot of people, we are smart, our DNA is very, very strong. If we're able to apply our minds to be more creative, be more focused, and learn much faster than the rest of the world, we will be a net creator of jobs.
One last question from my side, Andy, before I give it to others. Do you see any impact of Gulf War, Andy, on the...
For the last period of time, I think some of the companies are assessing their portfolios today and seeing what they are. But, like any other, when Ukraine war was happening, we thought some companies based in Ukraine will disappear. But look at Luxoft and EPAM and all of these companies, they come out with flying colors, right? So I'm sure the industry will navigate, will manage to create their own. People are catering to those markets, will find a way to solve it. They'll redistribute talent, redistribute workforce, figure out a way to solve those issues. So I don't know, very early to predict, but we think we are strong enough to overcome any eventuality and figure out a way to work around situations and impacts. And there are enough success stories that we can talk about. In adversity, they've started to short-term impact, but long-term benefits, right? And everybody has done very, very well. What is more challenging that we have to deal with is not all these things, but fundamentally, I think how do we create the talent for the future, that's why we devoted almost 90 minutes just on the topic as we go along, but we're doing a lot of work at the groundwork, not just the conference, but even otherwise.
So I just want to add a quick comment to your earlier question about the industry, right? If you look at it from the employees' perspective, right, who make up the industry, a year ago, I would say a lot of these new things were coming up, technologies were coming up. I think
in terms of how big is the Hyderabad IT industry now, both in terms of the number of people that it employs and the number of companies, as in your membership, I think was about 300 last year, if I remember right. Has it increased now, and what is the head count of these companies now?
I think we are...
sorry, and what is the turnover of these companies, exports-wise?
Funny, do you have the latest numbers? I think we have. I think we're close to about 1 million employee workforce that is there. About 3.2 lakh crores of exports. I think if you've seen the story of growth, I think as much as new companies, existing companies are scaling and growing. Today, I think Infosys, TCS, Cognizant, Wipro's, Coforge's, right? Largest, or if not the second largest campus is Hyderabad, right? So there's been a tremendous growth that we've seen even in services companies, outside of the large growth that we have seen in the GCC landscape that we have seen in the market that you've seen. We've been adding significant GCCs over the last 1 year, right? So we're seeing a two-edged growth story, right? Both on services, product companies, as well as GCCs that are bulging. Our membership is close to 420 odd people as we speak today. I think depends on which cut you look at. I think we cover still 90% of the employee base in the state of Telangana and Hyderabad. So that's what we do. I think more than just the members, we want to be relevant to every section of the society. There are members are ranging from product companies to engineering companies to IT services companies to startup ecosystems to large GCCs to small GCCs across different domains. So, we are trying to do as much as possible to each of these constituents and the segments so that we can help them in their journey and be relevant for them as it goes along. So that's been our focus by and large, and how do we be agile along with agile times that are there and cater to the diversification of the segments of members that we have today from a business standpoint, right? And you'll see a lot of startup events that we do today primarily because we think that we need to bring corporates and startups together to create matchmaking to accelerate innovation at scale by helping both constituents from a business standpoint. Almost, yeah.
And this software expo, this is old.
The circle of influence. So I think that should be how we want to see the new world shaping up along with the growth in traditional industries. To answer your question, Arvind Garu?
Just one question. How important is Middle East or West Asia as a market for the companies, especially in Hyderabad? Given your size and scale, is that something important?
So while there are no specific data points, but anecdotally what we see in the industry is that for us, even today, still almost 60% of the revenue is US-centric, or North America-centric, right? Then there's a large segment that comes in from the Europe. So Middle East, yes, most of the large SAs in India do have presence in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, and Bahrain and Qatar, which is mostly the federal government projects or the large oil and natural gas segment. So there is an exposure, but I mean, just anecdotally, my thinking is it is probably in single digits in terms of larger revenue point of view. Fairly small.
మనం 4th, 5th మార్చ్లో HYSEA యాన్యువల్ సమ్మిట్ చేస్తున్నాము. ఆ సమ్మిట్ ఫోకస్ ఏంటంటే ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ఎవ్రీవేర్ లీడింగ్ ద న్యూ ఎరా ఆఫ్ గ్రోత్. ఇలా ఎందుకు ఈ టైటిల్ ఎందుకు సెలెక్ట్ చేసామంటే ఇప్పుడు ఏఐ లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ వరకు ఎక్స్పెరిమెంటేషను, ఇప్పుడు ఎక్స్పెరిమెంటేషన్ టు యాక్చువల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్కి షిఫ్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో మనం ఆ ప్రకారంగా ఎలా ప్రాసెసెస్, పీపుల్, టెక్నాలజీని ఎలా మనము వాడి ఈ చేంజ్ని మనం డ్రాప్ చేసుకొని వీ కెన్ లీడ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ఫ్రంట్ ఇస్ ద ప్లాన్ ఫర్ దిస్ ఈవెంట్ అండి మనది ఆ రోజు. మనం 4th ఒక రీసెర్చ్ అకాడమీ రౌండ్ టేబుల్ చేస్తున్నాము వేర్ రీసెర్చ్ అకాడమిక్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ప్లస్ కార్పొరేట్ లీడర్స్ కలిసి ఎలా రీసెర్చ్ని మెయిన్ స్ట్రీమ్ చేసుకోవాలో ఆ డెలిబరేషన్ అవుతుంది. అది అయినాక విల్ హ్యావ్ అ ప్రీ సమిట్ డిన్నర్ ఈవెంట్ దట్ డే కంబైన్డ్ బై సమిట్. నెక్స్ట్ 5th సమిట్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఆ సమిట్లో ప్రైమల్గా బిపిన్ గారు విల్ కవర్ మోర్ స్పెసిఫిక్స్, కానీ ఆ సమిట్లో వీఆర్ కవరింగ్ బాడ్లీ 3 థీమ్స్. ఫస్ట్ థీమ్ ఏమంటే ఇప్పుడు మనం ఈ చేంజెస్ అయ్యే టెక్నాలజీలో మనం ఎలా యూస్ కేసెస్ ఎలా వస్తున్నాయి, ఇండస్ట్రీ ఏం చేస్తుంది, దాని నుంచి మనం ఎలా లెర్న్ చేసుకోవాలి. లాట్ ఆఫ్ స్పీకర్స్ ఆర్ టాకింగ్ ఆన్ దోస్ అండి. ఆ ఇంటెంట్ వస్తుంది. అలా కాకుండా మనం మాస్టర్ క్లాసెస్ చేస్తున్నాము. ఆ మాస్టర్ క్లాసెస్ ఏమో ప్రాక్టీషనర్స్కి ఎలా వాళ్ళు అప్లై చేసుకోవాలి ఏఐ అండ్ సిస్టమ్స్ ఇన్ దేర్ కంపెనీస్, ఆ గైడెన్స్ ఇన్ టూల్ వస్తుంది. అది కాకుండా మనము అవార్డ్స్ అండ్ సెరమనీస్ చేస్తున్నాము వేర్ వీఆర్ రికగ్నైజింగ్ top 10 exporters in Telangana, top 10 startup ideas in Telangana. We'll also be giving Lifetime Achievement Award to a very senior leader who's contributed to the growth of the IT ecosystem in Telangana. Very prominent people are going to participate, right from the US Counsel General Garu, Cognizant India President Rajesh Varrier Garu, Sanjeev Jain, who's the CEO of Wipro globally. అలా కాకుండా లారా విలియమ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ చీఫ్ జనరల్ కౌన్సిల్ జనరల్ ఫర్ యుఎస్ ఎంబసీ. అలా విల్ హ్యావ్ ఏఆన్, కేపిఎంజీ, ఈఎన్వై, అవసాన్, గార్ట్నర్, ఫారెస్టర్ నుంచి రీసెర్చ్ అనలిస్ట్ ఆల్సో ఆర్ పార్టిసిపేటింగ్ ఇన్ దీస్ సెషన్స్ అలాంగ్ విత్ మల్టిపుల్ లీడర్స్ అక్రాస్ మల్టిపుల్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్. Prominent personalities are going to talk about various events. That's the program construct. Evening we have a awards function. Krishna will talk more about the awards function. But that is the main purpose of this event and session.
So passed out students ఎవరైతే ఉంటారో వాళ్ళకి సబ్మిట్ ఎక్కడ వరకు యూజ్ అవుతుంది, వాళ్ళ కెరియర్ గ్రోత్కి ఎంతవరకు ఉపయోగపడుతుంది?
ఐ థింక్ వాళ్ళకి చాలా యూస్ఫుల్ ఉంటుంది. పాస్ స్టూడెంట్స్ కాదు, కరెంట్ స్టూడెంట్స్, గ్రాడ్యుయేట్ అయ్యే స్టూడెంట్స్ కూడా. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళకి ఫ్యూచర్ ఎలా వెళ్తుందో అర్థమవుతుంది, ఏ టూల్స్ ఎలా అప్లై చేసుకోవాలో తెలుస్తుంది. సో వాళ్ళు దే కెన్ అప్లై ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఇన్ దేర్ లైఫ్ అండ్ మేక్ మీ జాబ్ రెడీ అవ్వచ్చు అండ్ ఫ్యూచర్ చేంజెస్ని వాళ్ళు ఇంపాక్ట్ చేసుకొని చూసుకోవచ్చు. సో విల్ బీ యూస్ఫుల్ ఫార్ నాట్ జస్ట్ పాస్ స్టూడెంట్స్ బట్ ఆల్సో పీపుల్ హు ఆర్ పర్సూయింగ్. వాళ్ళ మైండ్ సెట్ని ఎలా సెటప్ చేసుకోవాలి, ఈ కొత్త వేవ్ ఆఫ్ టెక్నాలజీ ఇన్ఫ్యూజ్డ్ బిజినెస్ చేసుకోవాలంటే ఏం చేసుకోవాలి వాళ్ళకి ఇంట్రెస్ట్ వస్తుంది.
సో టెక్నాలజీ పైన వర్క్ చేసే ఎవరైతే ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఉంటారో సో వాళ్ళకి ఇక్కడ కొత్తగా మోటివేషన్ ఏం దొరుకుతుంది ఫర్ వర్కింగ్
సో వర్కింగ్ ప్రొఫెషనల్స్కి వాళ్ళ రోజున కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఏంటంటే ఈ జనరేటివ్ ఏఐ కానీ లేకపోతే ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే డీప్ టెక్నాలజీస్ గురించి, క్వాంటమ్ కానీ, ఎడ్జ్ కంప్యూటింగ్ గురించి ఎలా ఏమవుతుంది అనేది. మామూలుగా లాట్ ఆఫ్ కాంటెంట్ ఉంది, బట్ ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది ఈ కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో స్పెసిఫిక్ సెషన్స్ సీనియర్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్స్ డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీస్ వస్తున్నారు. సో ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ ఎంప్లాయీస్కి వస్తే కనుక వాళ్ళకి అసలు క్వాంటమ్ కంప్యూటర్లో ఏమవుతుంది, ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ఏమవుతుంది, ఏజెంట్ సిస్టమ్స్ ఎట్లా క్రియేట్ అవుతున్నాయి, ఏజెంట్స్ని మిగిలిన కంపెనీ ఎలా వాడుతున్నారు, ఒక ప్రాక్టికల్గా ఎవరు ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, ఏం నేర్చుకోవచ్చు, మన ఐటీ రంగం అనేది ఎటువైపు మరలుతుంది అనేది ఒక అవగాహన వస్తుంది. దాన్ని బట్టి మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళంతటికి వాళ్ళు నేర్చుకోవడానికి కానీ వాళ్ళ కంపెనీస్లో నేర్చుకోవడానికి కానీ వాళ్ళకు కూడా ప్రోగ్రెస్కి మంచి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. అంటే గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ తెలంగాణ వాళ్ళు అనౌన్స్ చేయలేదండి ఇంకా ఫైనల్ ఫిగర్, బట్ మాకు తెలిసి ఒక 3.2 lakh crores అని అనుకుంటున్నాము. ఎగ్జాక్ట్ నెంబర్స్ వస్తుంది వెరీ క్విక్లీ.